It's the final edition of MatchDA for the 2019 MLS Cup playoffs. Welcome inside the studios, everybody. Throughout the postseason, we have broken down all of the rounds, all of the matches leading up to MLS Cup. And now we have our champion, the Seattle Sounders, winners for the second time in 4 years with a 3-1 victory over Toronto FC. And it's time to hand out some awards. Numero uno, your striker of the day, who's named in honor of the 1994 World Cup mascot. The striker of the day has to be Victor Rodriguez of Seattle. It's a 1-0 lead for Seattle. Going into the 77th minute, it was really, for the most part, a completely scoreless effort for most of the afternoon up until the 59th minute. And yet Toronto could not burst through. Even though Toronto had outplayed Seattle for most of the match, could not break through. There's a 1-0 lead basically on an own goal, and then Victor Rodriguez splits the defense, splits two defenders, fires a rocket, back of the net. That makes it 2-0, and basically it's game, set, match there. The crowd goes insane. All of CenturyLink Field erupts, and that was the moment that iced the MLS Cup for the Seattle Sounders. So a guy that rose to the occasion, that had one of the best moments of the playoffs with that goal in the most important moment, and Seattle completely flipped the script on Toronto. Yeah, you know what? Toronto FC had really played really well up until that moment, but that's where the dam broke, and eventually Seattle takes home a 3-1 win. And really, this is where Seattle becomes the standard for the MLS. They have done club-wide renovation to the lowest levels, the academy levels, the front office, and didn't build a team, but built a soccer club like the European clubs, and it is paying major dividends. Not only another MLS Cup appearance, but now an MLS Cup championship as well to go with 2016. And now the honorary LP Bay, which is our award to somebody that captures the spirit of one of MLS's first great showmen, Carlos Valderrama, goes to the Sounders fans. They were so loud. I mean, walking into the match, you had the march of the fans leading up until the stadium. There was dancing and singing, and the city of Seattle loves soccer so much that those fans made the entire day feel like such a celebration, such a party, and what a tremendous venue and event for MLS to culminate in. The city of Seattle rose to the occasion. Sounders fans were ridiculously loud. When the first goal goes in, they erupt. When the second goal goes in from Rodriguez, the place just goes nuts. And then you just saw the singing, the dancing, the chanting going on for what felt like hours after the match ended up, being over. I just thought that Sounders fans showed up en masse, and they deserve to be the showman of the day. Well, time to look inside MLS Cup with someone who was there. He's on his way back from Seattle as we speak. He is Sports Illustrated and Planet Football's Mr. Reliable. That would be my friend Grant Wahl. Grant, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Always good to catch up with you. And there were some people that said yesterday after the 3-1 win by the Sounders, they actually weren't the better team that Toronto was. What do you think about that analysis?
Well, in the end, I think Seattle deserved a win. They performed best when they had the chances in front of goal. And even though I think Toronto did dominate possession for probably the first 45 to 60 minutes of the game, they just didn't have that many great chances in front of goal. They spent a lot of time in the attacking half of the field, but I thought Seattle's back line was really solid throughout this game and gave the Seattle attack and counter some opportunities. They finally got the goal, kind of a weird, should have been an own goal. They gave it to Kelvin Leerdam 58 minutes in to give Seattle a 1-0 lead, and then a second one came about 20 minutes later. Really great play by Nicolas Lodeiro to set up Victor Rodriguez, and that was the decisive goal for me. Rudy Diaz got a third, and then Josie Altidore got one late, but I can understand why Toronto would be frustrated based on having nearly 70% possession.
Your piece for SI.com surrounded really Lodeiro and what he has meant to that organization, what he's meant to that program. And do the Sounders take their cues within that organization from Lodeiro, and did they do so yesterday?
I think Lodeiro is a truly underrated player. There aren't that many pure number 10s left in the game of soccer, just pure playmakers. And Lodeiro is one of them. Terrific Uruguayan player for their national team, has been very good for Seattle now for 3 years, has won 2 titles now, and he's the pillar on which Seattle rests, and just sets up so much for them. And also, when you talk to people inside the Seattle organization, they say our best player, Nicolas Lodeiro, is also our hardest worker, and that has created a culture inside this Sounders team where everyone is held accountable every day. And you really saw that in this playoff run how important he is.
This was a different kind of MLS postseason. It was the first one with the format. Every round was one match series. You had the MLS Cup back on network television on ABC yesterday. You also had nearly 70,000 people in the stands in Seattle. Overall, was this one of the more successful playoffs that MLS has had?
I think so. I think the new playoff format was a definite upgrade. Too often in the past, you would have these 2-leg playoff series, and the first leg would be 90 minutes of boredom. And we certainly didn't have that here. This was every game being an elimination game. It also rewards regular season success a lot more than the previous format because you get to play that elimination game at home by winning the opportunity to do that. So a few years ago, MLS also went to having the final not be at a neutral site anymore and be at the finalists that had the better regular season record, and that's created a better atmosphere for the final. 2 straight years now with over 70,000 people in the stands. Atlanta last year, Seattle this year. And it also rewards the regular season, which I don't think MLS has done enough in the past. They've had situations where you play a 34-game regular season and it kind of gets thrown out the window. That's not the case anymore.
Read Grant Wahl's coverage of the MLS Cup at SI.com, and also check out his new podcast, the Planet Football Podcast, which is a must-listen for all soccer fans, as he breaks down Seattle's victory as well as Liverpool's big win over City and many other anecdotes and news and notes from around the soccer world. Grant, it has been too long, my man. Thank you so much for doing this today.
My pleasure, DA. Take care.
You got it. Grant Wahl joining us here on MatchDA. And for That's a Meme, let's just go to Don Garber's Twitter, because the commissioner of MLS tweeted out a picture, which is just staggering. When you see 70,000 Sounders fans, all with different colored placards of the colors of the team, and then you see the group of Toronto FC players in their red on the field just being totally swarmed over, completely enveloped by all of this green and blue. It's an amazing sight. And with that tweet, Don Garber tweeted the number 69274. That was the attendance in the MLS Cup. 69,274, the largest crowd in Seattle soccer history, the largest sporting event ever at that stadium. That includes Seahawks games, and the largest soccer crowd ever in the state of Washington's history. That is your meme. That is your moment. And everything worked here. Thank goodness MLS went to a situation where you always play MLS Cup now at a home stadium instead of a neutral site. It has added so much juice. It seems so weird to think about it being at a neutral site for so long, but it culminated what was an awesome postseason. The one-game format was great. The elimination format was great. You had some tremendous individual efforts, and a club like Seattle, which has been really a standard bearer now for the last couple of seasons, bringing home the MLS Cup in front of 69,000 on network TV, and last year more than 70,000 in Atlanta. That's back-to-back years MLS Cup had more than 70,000 people at it. That is good for that league, and that is an amazing stat for the state of soccer in the U.S. Hopefully you've enjoyed MatchDA. Maybe we'll do this more moving forward. Seems like we got a lot of great response from you guys on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and on YouTube. Until next time, from Stryker and the gang here, goodbye, goodbye.